of keeping your commitments. Welcome to Unbreakable. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We ready to jump and get started right with our coaching tips and coaching points for today. And so I had an opportunity to take a look at some things yesterday. And the number one thing that um, myself and a group of people were kind of talking about and reviewing and kind of doing like a film study. So, for those that don't know, in sports, you always look at your film study. So, college, you look at film. You look at film of the day that you practice, the day after. You play a game on Saturday. On Sunday, you look at your film study of your performance. Monday, you practice. Tuesday, when you come in, you look at your Monday's practice and you make these adjustments. And one of the biggest things that comes out of film study is the opportunity to get to take a look at your performance and things that you did not keep your commitment to. And people don't understand that the very first thing is the little commitments from you said you was going to call somebody at a certain time, but you didn't. You said you were going to fill out a different application and start looking for another job, but you haven't. You said you were going to start this company, but you didn't. You said you were going to, and all of these you said you were going to do, but you didn't do is a way of breaking small promises to yourself. But when you keep those small promises, which is coaching point number one, small promises builds big wins. When you keep those small commitments to yourself, you're honoring yourself. It builds confidence because you know you coming through for yourself. You're going to be there for yourself. And those things are important to creating momentum. It's important to creating success. It's very important in moving forward. And so you want to make sure that your commitments, it's not really about just doing big things, but it's really about daily, ordinary promises that you keep to yourself. So if you said you were going to do something as simple as, well, I'm going to wash the dishes right after I cook, but then you cook and don't wash the dishes, these things really begin to cut into your momentum in other areas of life. But when you finish that task and you cook and you get the kitchen cleaned up, you do feel better because as you move forward, you know you don't have that on your list. When you say you're going to work out and you finish that workout, or you say, you know what, I'm going to get the laundry done today, or guess what, I'm going to sit down and go over my taxes today. And when you do those little things and you follow through on those promises, you begin to send a signal to yourself that says, I can trust myself. I can come through for myself. And that really begins to create a whole different level of momentum. It begins to create a different level of trust and it begins to compound. And the more little things that you do, the stronger that you get. And every small promise that you keep is another building stone to your confidence. So when it comes down to tackling something big, you don't have to blame someone else. You'll say, I can do this because I've always been there for myself and I didn't let myself down. And that's probably one of the very hardest things to do is to focus on yourself, it's easier to blame situations and circumstances around you. So work on building your confidence by finishing those little things. And coaching point number two, finish before you add something. Wins don't just stack up. Your focus, your focus becomes scattered. They stack up when you complete what you started. And so there was a phone call I was supposed to make the other day, and I didn't. And I felt bad about it. And so I had to make that phone call this morning to follow through on what I said I was going to do, because the only thing I really let down was that other person, and it was, I let myself down. But I wanted to make sure that I started the day out recognizing my film study from the day before, what I didn't complete, and make sure that I completed that particular task, make that phone call today before I added something on. And so I've just had all this amazing energy going. It's been really good. And you want to make sure that you complete things before you actually start stacking things on. Yesterday, I met some guys at a organic donut shop, but it was organic bagels. It was a fresh coffee. It was a this place was gorgeous. It didn't even look like a restaurant that was there. And I went in and I spoke with with the owner, and next thing I know, some of the other brothers came, and now you got three, four, five, six guys in there. Nobody planned to be there, but we all end up being at this place because it's pretty popular. But I had opportunity to meet the owner and talk to him, and he shared his story of how he was actually homeless when they got that place and was sleeping on the floor with his family while they were building the recipes. So, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a live podcast from the donut shop with the owner, because that was something that he completed no matter what the circumstances was around him. And he just had an amazing story. And what he showed was it's easy to start new goals and work on a new opportunity, but he needed to finish his commitment to his family by getting this place off the ground so that they could have a different level of income. He showed that the discipline was what closed that loop and opened the new doors for him. He finished that job, he finished that task, he pushed through, and now this dude is like millions. And so it's been just an amazing story. I was really glad that God had connected us and put us together, and that he now has momentum going, and momentum is what builds in the completion process, not in the collection process, not in collecting a whole bunch of tasks, but you want to just make sure that you focus on completing your things, do your film study or your review of what you did. And these things really help to become unbreakable. And then coaching point number three, commitment publicly, but execute privately. Sometimes we don't have accountability partners, but having somebody that you accountable to really fuels your consistency. But execution of what you're supposed to be doing, That's really the discipline part, and it's the unseen part of things that you're supposed to do. I know people who want to start a business. I know people who want to move forward. I know people who have great ideas. But you know what? Those ideas are great, and it's great you want to start a business. But if you don't take any steps and get out there and fail forward at it, once you move and you get out there and you start going forward, it's going to change anyways. Nothing's going to be perfect, but you have to get out there and start some stuff. And people don't want an accountability partner because then that way they can let themselves off the hook and they'll never grow. It'll just be something they want to do and they'll walk around sour. They'll have these great ideas, but they won't execute them. And being unbreakable is about executing things in private so that in public you are feeling good, you are able to make an impact in your community, in your family, and even in your environment and in your surroundings. And so you want to make sure that you work on that. And when you make a commitment to something, you share that commitment. Share it with somebody you trust. Share it with somebody who has a healthy accountability. And I have my wife. I'm accountable to her, but I also have a couple of brothers. I have two coaches, and we do weekly check-ins. And I have clients. They do weekly check-ins with me, and it's just been great for growth because there's no way that I want to go back to my coaches and say, well, no, I didn't get this done. Well, no, I didn't get this done week after week after week. That's old. And plus, when you hit them rolling 60s, look, it's time to do some new things. It's time to do some new adventures. It's time to do some different accountability, some different success steps. And you want to just make sure that you are working on those things. And so when you start doing things that's accountable and you start getting that momentum, just understand that the real wins come when you quietly do the work. And that when no one is watching, that's when your character and confidence is built. Not when you take the time off because nobody's watching. It's when nobody's watching and you do the work. And the greatest victories happen in private, but they are celebrated in public. And I just want to be able to leave you with this closing thought, this closing um, process, this just a thought for the week. Every chance that you get to sharpen your mind, work out, eat healthy, reset your goals. When your focus becomes clear on what you do and you start taking small, actionable steps and completing those things, celebrate your progress. You're not just surviving the week when you celebrate those small things, you're actually becoming unbreakable. So you do one win, one lesson, one step forward at a time. And that is how you work on becoming unbreakable. Hey, look, everybody, that's my time. I will have the opportunity to see you Thursday. Drop any questions that you may have. Any resources that you may need, please ask about those. Drop those. Say, hey, Coach Bowles, do you know about this? Or are you able to point me to that? Or what information do you have about temperaments? Or how do I know what business I work best in? Or, I'm trying to get a promotion. How do I position myself? Coaching and elevating to the next level is really what it's about. It's about working on yourself. It's about working on your mindset. It's about being disciplined. It's about executing those small things in private, so that you can celebrate them in public. And so, drop your comments in the section. I would appreciate that. Let's share the podcast. Let's help somebody out. There's a whole lot more that we're going to be unrolling to just help people out genuinely. And really, our mission here at Unbreakable is to get people prepared to deal with storms, to deal with changes, to be able to have and create more happiness in their life. We want people to be effectively partner eh, together in business. We want people to have happy relationships. And one of the biggest things is to be a light out there for people who need and want that help and support. So I just want